6 o'clock, let's call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call, please.
Trustee Polly?
Present.
Trustee Lappin?
Here.
Clerk Palovich here. Treasurer Ellery Summers?
Here.
Trustee Kroll?
Here.
Trustee Dunkel?
Here.
Supervisor Skibby?
Here. At this point, this is the time are there any additions, corrections to the agenda as presented? Yes.
I would like to add an employee resignation.
Okay, we'd like to add resignation. Do you want to, where would you like to place that on? New business,
You can do it as
item 6.
item 6.
Okay. Resignation. Are there any other additions, corrections to the agenda as presented? If not, I will entertain a motion to adopt the amended agenda. We have a motion by Trustee Dunkel. Do we have support? Support by Trustee Polly. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the amended agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Agenda adopted. This is the first opportunity for public comment. I see Russ, you are online. Are there any other callers on this meeting? If so, please state your name and your address for public comment.
You talking to me or someone else?
I will talk to you, sir. We can talk
All right.
to anybody else.
All right. 2 things I'd like to just mention to the board. One is I was noticing on your agenda an MTA training program or conference online. If it's at all possible, I would like to be included in as a registrant in that if it doesn't add additional cost to the township, and if it does, please let me know. So I would just make that request. Secondly, and Norm called me, and Norm, I'm sorry I didn't get a return call to you in time.
No problem.
But we'd been sitting in on the, and I think Nathan, you'd already left to prepare on the county, they call it leadership. I'm not sure I'm county leadership anymore, but in any event, county leadership meeting in regard to the COVID response. I asked the question about whether or not the township still had to comply with the under 10 or under at its meetings, because I have been informed secondhand from supposedly directly from a county health department official that because of a glitch in the last executive order, which I think was 181, the intention was not to reduce region 6 and 8 from the 250 to in a meeting to the 10 or under. They gave me blank stares when I said that in that meeting, so I didn't get an answer there. But I went and looked at most recent executive order 183, and this apparently takes effect on October 9. So I just wanted you to know that in regions 6 and 8, if I'm reading this correctly, you could have either 25 people per 1,000 square feet or 25% of your seating capacity in your meetings. And you may want to have Tim or somebody check that out and confirm that. But that was my reading of that executive order. And I guess it doesn't start now until October 9th. So that's all I wanted to tell you. I don't know if that's new information or old information for you. So.
I appreciate that, Mr. Reinhardt. Actually, Norm brought that quandary. I wish I would have had a little bit more time to address it at the county leadership. Yes, Executive Order 2020-183, third paragraph really kind of explains the safe start as to beginning October 9th. Most non-residential indoor venues can host social gatherings and organize events as long as they maintain fewer than 20 people per 1,000 square feet. Required facial coverings always. So yes, we're all on the same page. It is 20. This boardroom is actually 2,000 square feet, but in order to maintain 6-foot social distancing, we won't even encapsulate the numbers that are allowed by state law. Or sorry, I will correct myself, not state law, Executive Order 183. Tim, did you have anything to add to this?
I was just going to say, I noticed in my inbox from MTA, there was a discussion about the executive order, so I know Russ was talking about it, something you do too, Nate.
Yep. No, 183 corrected and rescinded the misinformation that was provided in Executive Order 181. 183 makes very clear that it's 20% seating capacity, 20 people per 1,000 square foot requiring facial coverings, but still monitoring 6-foot social distancing protocols. So it sounds like a conundrum of people making decisions without tape measures. So, but we are very well aware of it, sir. Thank you very much for bringing that to our attention. Are there any other individuals on the telephone? I know that we've had some issues with some people trying to call in, but if there's anybody online that has any public comment, please state your name and your address. I'm looking. Everything's on, so. Okay, well, we have one more chance for public comment. At this point in time, I do not see any other additional public comment. Moving forward with the agenda, we have payment of bills. Do we have a motion to make payment of bills?
Motion to pay the bills.
We have a motion by trustee Lappin to make payment of the bills. Is there support?
Support.
Support by trustee Kroll. Any further discussion on payment of bills? If not, roll call vote, please.
Clerk Palovich, yes. Treasurer Ellery Summers.
Yes.
Trustee Kroll,
Yes.
Trustee Dunkel.
Matt? Trustee Dunkel, are you still with us?
Yes.
Okay. Payment of bills.
Trustee Dunkel,
Yes.
Trustee Foley,
Yes.
Trustee Lappin,
Yes.
Supervisor Skibby.
Yes. Moving forward with the agenda are the minutes of September 8th, 2020. Is there a motion to approve the minutes presented of September 8th?
We'll make that motion. So move. Support.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Pulley and support by trustee Dunkel. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes of September 8th signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, the same. Minutes approved. Correspondence, would you just like to give a brief overview? I can.
Okay.
The correspondence that we received through the Department of Veterans Affairs through Alpena County does and does not, it affects other municipalities within the county, but given the consideration that we do not have a cemetery in the Charter Township of Alpena, this does not apply to us. So we have it formally as correspondence, even though it does not need any action. But I will entertain a motion to receive and file the correspondence as presented.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion on the table to receive and file. Is there support?
Support.
We have support by trustee Lappin. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of receiving and filing signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, the same. Correspondence filed. Old business, chief, we have you kind of right up front for the next three. So if you could, I did get some concerns that with your distance, if you could bring your seat 6 foot away from the table, that way some people can hear you by microphone. That would be of a, that will help us. There you go. So unification of G04 pagers, chief.
Excuse me, that is actually G-4 by the description on the invoice. I mean, does that mean anything in the minutes or on the agenda, but what is it?
Yeah, that needs
Is
to,
it G-4 or G04?
Well,
it's G dash, it's a typo.
G dash, I'd like to try it, but when I grabbed my paperwork to come over, I'd given all my original stuff to Michelle.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay, chief. Table is
Okay,
yours.
the turnover date for the 800 megahertz radio system was originally slated for the 23rd, I believe, during the county meeting tonight. Director Hall indicated that then bumped back a month.
That's what I had heard, was 1 month pushback.
So back to November, but the KSB, just to refresh your memory, he had secured a number of 800 radios from a county downstate. However, during the switchover, we'll still need to purchase pagers. And I had him quote me purchase for 4 teams, 7 for full-time personnel and 7 for some remaining paid-on calls we have, which are basically kind of the core of the people we have left that are responding. I didn't see the need to spend more money immediately for people that weren't showing up to calls consistently. I thought I would deal with that later. So anyway, the end result is the invoice you have before you from Director Hall. Supervisor Skibby and I sat down and discussed the probable different line items that we would be able to secure that money from. And after the last realignment of the budget, I think we both agreed the only logical one we can go to right now would be the equipment millage fund, which is 205-336-970-000. So that's what I would recommend to the board at this point.
So we have a recommendation of our chief to make expenditure of $7,508.20 to be paid for out of the equipment line item millage GL that was presented. Do we have a motion on the table to move forward with said expenditure?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by trustee Kroll to move forward with the expenditure. Is there support?
I'll support that.
It's been moved and supported. Further discussion? Laura?
So this bill right now is dated September 8th, but we're not going to actually get these pagers until November.
We will get the pagers, I believe, don't call me, my belief is that they've been templated already. Mark is waiting just till we get a little bit closer to the start date for the 800 megahertz, and that he knows we can financially procure the pagers. So to answer your question, Reader's Digest style, is I assume as soon as we pay for them, we'll get them, provided that they're templated correctly.
Okay. I just wondered why we didn't get them first and then pay for them.
Trustee Fuller?
I was under the impression that this equipment millage was basically some with wheels or trucks. Where's this line drawn on what is considered equipment? I don't remember what that particular said.
And Tim, we recently kind of went over it, and correct me if I'm wrong, because the equipment millage, anything that is a necessary function, yes, technically, when we look at it, we're looking at the bigger scale items, apparatus, et cetera. But in my last reading of it, communications, fireground communications is a huge equipment concern, unless
I think it was purposely worded broadly in order to provide flexibility.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I'm not trying to read your mind, Norm, but I'm thinking your question is this was supposed to purchase 2 ambulances and a truck, period, and now we're coming up with all these extra parts?
Kind of, yeah, I mean, it's
And,
like,
okay,
yeah, because we were,
my best short explanation would be is, I know I thanked people before that were diligent enough to do it, but that was based on around $225,000 per ambulance and approximately 575, I think, for the engine. And we ended up saving money on both of the ambulances by going to a lower purchase price, and treasurer and clerk paid off the interest early, which saved money. Plus, instead of paying like 575 for the engine, we brought that in at four. I don't have it right in front. What, 455, 465?
I was saying 456 was in my head, but
About
much less than we thought.
of that existing millage, we saved over $100,000, and that's where that bit of extra money is coming up that we're using for this other equipment.
but aren't we shooting for another piece of equipment that we're gonna have to borrow money for?
The tanker,
Yeah.
water tender.
Yeah, is that gonna come out of that millage too? Is the money there?
Yes.
The money will be collected there. As it stands with what Chief has presented is spot on. So because of the financial due diligence of our clerk and treasurer,
Thank you.
we've actually minimized that overall figure. So we have that money actually, and obviously the primary collection of this millage money falls on the winter taxes. So one of the reasons to go to your exact point is we are looking forecasting of potential expenditures prior to having the full pot available. So that's where it's gone to the fire committee of, we'll have, when we move forward with this new engine, once we start sitting down and looking at those particulars, we'll have probably roughly, let's say 50%, if not a little over 50% of that total accumulated cost collected in this upcoming winter tax. And then we're going to finance the remainder to be paid off in a short term upon collection of the supplemental year. And then we'll have, I believe, a year, well, we have 3 years remaining on that. So we'll have 1 year full collection available for the potential water tender.
Okay.
So we've actually, because of the due diligence that have gone thus far, we've been able and afforded the potentials now with communications, which on EMS and fire grounds is essential, even same with law enforcement. And then I do believe we also made a small expenditure. When I say small, it's a relative term, but for the air packs as well as the CBAs.
Yes,
So
yes.
we've actually improved our equipment infrastructure within the department vastly outside of just larger apparatus or apparati. Yes, Laura.
I just want to go back to, why are we paying for these before we get them? I mean, we always get our product and then we pay.
It would probably be as simple as that, or were we buying them direct from Motorola? My understanding of this purchase is that the county has already purchased those pagers, so they're property that we're purchasing from the county. And somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that whether it's Mark's or one of the board of commissioners or whatever, that was the terms I was told, is that they wanted to know that we were either going to pay for them or did pay for them.
I just don't want to get them in 3 months. I mean, I want to get them in a timely manner once we pay for them. I mean, get them not.
That's the whole.
That's
thing.
my concern, is I just.
And I want to preface or remind the board too that we had like a 2-3 year period where we were like, well, we have no idea, we have no idea, we have no idea. We undid the millage test and they were like, okay, October 23rd.
Yeah.
It came on us quick.
These pagers are suited to 800 megahertz, which you have or don't have.
We don't have.
So if we have the pagers, they won't connect anything, right? They'll just be sort of in the building.
Correct. When they get ready to switch over to the 800 system, my understanding is they're gonna pull the plug on the page up and the pages we got now and they go through. Except, I will just be specific to that question. We do have, I believe, 4 pagers on station right now that they're dual frequency. I don't want to say frequency, but they're capable of both VHF and the 800. And I believe those were purchased. You guys remember the lightning strike and fried our bases and pagers? And we had to purchase new ones. And the thought back then is why purchase VHF ones if we know 800 is coming in a year or 2 years. So we purchased the ones that are VHF now that can be reprogrammed to the 800. But other than those minimum numbers, yeah, we know.
The only other question I have is, and whether it applies here or perhaps to the new agenda item or the new business item, is are we trying to take advantage of applying for any grants, whether it be through the community foundation or the insurance or any number of other places where we can.
To be honest with you, I have applied for 3 grants this year, but none of them applied to communication. They were all for personal protection equipment, because that was the line item we dropped off the budget. But yeah, we're trying to be cognizant of it.
Yeah, just remember that there's at least 4 or 5 places that I can think of that would be eligible for it. So, and I'd be happy to help you with some of the things.
I recall us talking about that
Okay.
before. I believe you emailed me at least 4 local community.
Yep.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Dunkel,
Yeah.
trustee Foley,
Yes.
trustee Lappin,
Yes.
clerk Palovich, yes. Treasurer Ellery Summers,
Yes.
trustee Kroll,
Yes.
supervisor Skibby.
Yes. Okay, moving forward, Chief, to the bids to replace the AEDs. Before you do get going on this, I would like to, I actually see it handwritten down at the bottom. Thank you. Please present.
Okay, also come down the kind of down that same path. Our automated external defibrillators that we carry in our units are, I'll say, near age. My bigger problem is finding replacement batteries for them, whether they're in good condition or not. Long story short, we need to replace a minimum of 3 of them, and I did ask for some quotes. I actually only received 1 official quote back, and it also so happens that they are a single supplier in the state of Michigan for the LifePak 1000s that you see on the quote you do have. And the idea why I picked the LifePak 1000 was to be compatible with the city defibrillator monitors, so that in the instance of a full arrest like we had the other morning, they would be able to come in after we've already done our AED protocol and just unplug our patches and plug right into them. They're not able to do that right now. We have to take the patches off completely and reapply. And that's the reason I picked this specific model. And to reiterate, Stryker Medical is the only supplier in Michigan. Now, I did include, did you print those off also, Michelle?
These?
I did.
Yeah, everybody got those in the
Yeah, I did try to discern on the internet if we did go like out of state, so I put some work house, putting house, and compared the same defibrillator prices from several different, like AED.com and I forget what the other one was. HeartSmart.com, and they actually were higher priced than Rebecca's quote, And just to make a connection there, Rebecca and Stryker is who we bought our power pots and power motors from. So kind of like established customer wants to keep our business. So, and again, in discussing with Supervisor Skibby, when I get to my recommendation was the same line item, but one addition on there, and see 800 in there, I put a little over 9,000. Supervisor expressed the concern that we actually don't have an AED other than in the fire department on premises in the boardroom here. And
Are we required to have one on the premises? Is it a law?
it
We
is
can't
not a
just run
law.
over there and go, hey, guys.
Yeah, it's not a law, it's kind of a common sense
Oh, no.
suggestion.
Okay, common sense, thanks, chief.
No, it's just been something, I mean,
I mean, they are.
I
fairly
just see it as,
expensive.
I don't disagree that, you know, we share the same building, but at the same time, having had used one of those, time is of the essence. And if, especially being a public facility, maybe this will get us moving in the right direction to be helpful in the.
Do you have to be trained on how to use them?
So thank you
I
very
mean-
much, Michelle, because I was getting there.
Okay.
But I appreciate your tempo. Because we've been asking to have a CPR certification class for our office staff, because this is something everybody should know. So maybe this is another building block towards getting to training, because AEDs are about as rudimentary and simple nowadays as they can be. But CPR isn't. Protocols are always changing. So I'd ask Chief to add one, because we do have building and grounds monies available to have one on site here. I mean, we can shoot it down as a board. I just looked at that as being well-equipped and prepared, so.
I understand the agenda, but, and not to wander off in the left field, that the CPR has popped up, and I wanted you guys, I did not forget about that. I lost my instructor.
Do you have to be certified in instructing?
Huh?
Why did you want to teach it?
I don't know why I'd take it, because I don't want to get
Yeah,
close
you
to
have to be licensed by either
Okay.
American Heart or Red Cross
Okay.
to teach CPR now. Now, the backside of that is one of our firefighter medics right now is going through EMT paramedic instructor coordinator class. And she's in the process of completing her CPR instructor certification. So that just to put a fine point on that, as soon as that's completed, I would, because I know it's been over a year, I think, since.
Working on two, but I'm
Maybe three.
not focusing on it. So,
Since I started here, Chief.
but yeah, so three.
We'll put it on the check.
Three of these would be coming from the equipment line item millage, which shows at $6,838.80, of which there's adequate monies in. The remaining balance of which would be coming from, and I don't have my.
I have mine, so here's
Yeah.
building and grounds.
Yeah, because I was actually looking, yeah.
While you're looking for that, can I ask a question?
Yes, by all means, please.
So, I mean, I was trained on the AEDs, and I mean, it is pretty simple, you know what I mean? But I think it makes you feel more comfortable if you've actually practiced on it before and
If we're
learned
gonna
on
put one in there, we'd have an AED. training
Yeah.
convention.
No, but I'm just saying though, but I do think it is let's just say something happens to me while I'm here. And, you know, during a board meeting and it's here on the wall, somebody thinks I need it. How much time do I have? Like if Cash went and grabbed it off the wall versus trying to call you guys to come over. I mean, am I gonna like get?
Traditionally, we shoot for 4 to 10 minutes.
I mean, I just wonder.
And
Put it in the back.
trauma-wise speaking,
By the CPR.
from a practical standpoint, you've heard the term the golden hour. So even people that have been down
It's gonna go.
15, 20 minutes, 30
That's
minutes.
531, 531.
Again, not to surpass anything, but we did have a full arrest the other morning where we had a questionable downtime with the patient. And Tom and I were the first two on scene, and Alpha unit actually was held up at the railroad. What are the chances?
Right,
You know,
right.
it's been years since I've heard that Alpha unit tied up at the railroad tracks, so this one was a full arrest. Long story short, we got in there, started CPR, got him on the AED, and we actually got pulses back on scene, and he was taken to the ER and shut down in Midland. I don't want to flood this too much. He did succumb 2 or 3 days later, I think, because he'd been down to one health. But from a successful CPR standpoint, that's how important they are to us.
Right.
Because we don't have.
Well, I just thought by the time somebody runs to a phone and tries to, or runs over there. and-
Well, and
I'm just telling y'all, if you're alone with me, you're probably not gonna make it.
well,
I am not, I'm just putting it out there. I'm not kidding.
let's get back to the business at hand. So we have a request of 3 for the fire department and 1 will be coming out of buildings and grounds for here. Training aside, we have the GLs logged. Is there a motion to move forward with the purchase of 4 AEDs, one for the building, 3 for fire department apparatus?
I'll make a vote.
Would you like to support?
Support.
We have a motion and support. Further discussion.
So
Motion by
on the, obviously the striker bid is the only one that officially came in, but this was not an RFP, right? This was just you requesting this information. It wasn't a timeline or anything like that.
No.
So I noticed, and I looked online, the striker was clearly the better price, at least what I was looking at. And so I noticed that on AED Superstore, I guess it was, that they do have grants available. Did you ever get a hold of anybody?
No.
I wonder, I suspect the grants wouldn't be significant enough, because it seems to me that there was about a $400 per AED cost savings to Stryker. But I also wonder, those that are on the township wall, wherever they're bolted or screwed in or wherever they are, do they have to be plugged in to keep a battery charged?
No, the batteries are replaceable and have a shelf life.
And which is approximately what?
Well, again, it depends. There's, I don't want to get off on the left here. There are two different types of defibrillators. And one is designed more for general public that you see hanging like in the airport, a mall, shopping mall, maybe even your Walmart offices. And then the ones that we use, I would say, in an industrial aspect, and difference in cost is they know that, remember the Samsonite gorilla? That's kind of how they get treated in the field, so
Yeah.
they're built a little.
Well, that's kind of where I was going.
Yeah.
So are we spending $2,200 to have something on the wall that we hope we never have to use? And that the battery will just sort of go bad? Or do we spend $800 or $900 for the AED that would be otherwise found in a Walmart or something like that?
Yeah. Again, my best explanation would be the reason I would lean that way is number one for consistency.
So when you turn them on, doesn't a voice come on and say, now take this one and stick it here, and now take this one and stick it here, and then stand clear and hit the button?
Yeah. there's consistency as far as style familiarity. It's not, like I said, it's not rocket science. It's a whole thing behind the ADCs. But as far as replacing pads and batteries and stuff, for us, it would be more good. Because again, I know, you know what they say about assuming. But my assumption is if we hung up one in here, the fire department would more or less take care of it. Make sure that the batteries are fresh and rotated, because the pads actually expire too. Even though they're foil sealed packed, that's bridge the date on it.
Well, I guess I'm just trying to look at the practicality of it. And clearly from a fire department standpoint, that the usage would be appreciably greater than that, which would, like I say, hope that no one would ever need it. And if those are $700 or $800, then that's, $1,500 or so that we could put someplace else. Just a thought.
And it's not a bad one. I'm not opposed. I think that the intent was that we have one here.
I
Then
disagree with that.
the second part of that in my discussions with Chief was a linear approach to our Alpha unit partners at the city and the county. As they come in right now with what we do have, they have to disassemble and reassemble, and any break in that. So to your train of thought, I don't disagree. Anywhere we can save money, but therein, if we have 4 linear and then the city has the same exact one, now we have the potential of purchasing power and keeping a consistent.
I understand the logic of that.
And-
And I just wouldn't want that to be one hanging on the wall and then something happened to the one in one of the units. And it's like, hey, we have to have one hanging on the wall. Let's go grab that one. And then all of a sudden this one-
And I could see that happening at the township, like we don't have money, so we'll grab the one off the wall.
Yeah, well, and to some extent, not that it would be taken forever, but that is another redundancy that we now have available for the primary service.
Of course.
So-
I see it as a.
I see it both ways. I see it both ways as well. I guess I just lean towards.
I'm just looking at the practicality.
Move on.
Yep.
Purchase.
Any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Polly,
Yes.
trustee Lappin,
Yes.
clerk Palovich, yes. Treasurer Ellery Summers,
Yes.
trustee Kroll,
Yes.
trustee Dunkel,
Yes.
supervisor Skibby.
Yes. Okay, moving forward to the last item for you, Chief, is the First Responder Hazard Pay Premiums Program, which operates under PA 144 of, as everybody affectionately calls, the CARE Act.
I'll try to keep this short and sweet. Basically, under the CARES Act, FRHP was a proposal put forward to, call it a work to give hazard pay to any frontline workers. In the packet that was given describes who's eligible, and that's everybody police officers, firefighters, corrections, EMS, et cetera. And that is tied into the CARES. So I was speaking with the clerk the other day. I sent an email and asked if we had done anything, or this actually was just, I was looking under a rock or something that made it work to me by one of the captions the other day, and our timeline was closing in. So I contacted Michelle, and that's why we're talking about it tonight. My understanding was we had to have the application in by September 30th. But Michelle explained.
It needs to be paid to the employees by September 30th, and the application also needs to be in by September 30th, which is this Wednesday.
Is this a reimbursement grant then?
Yes.
But the employees have to be paid
Has to be
through
on
payroll.
So before you chew on this, I will tell you that it is a reimbursement program. And from what I read and from what Michelle explained to me, it does say that we would have to be paid prior to September 30th. This is way short notice. Number two, it's a first come, first served grant. So that, I guess what I'm telling you is get some money. There's not a guarantee that you, as a township, will be reimbursed if you elect to give us the hazard pay. And I want to make that clear. So if you guys decided even to give just the 6 or 20 some or whatever, that hazard bonus, still, the application is actually, we can do it in like 15 minutes. But this is still a quick timeline. So I don't want to lead the board into a, sure, $1,000 hazard pay would be nice, but I don't want to lead the board into feeling obligated to paying that and then putting the application in and hearing back in a month, we're sorry when it's already gone. So.
Trustee Foley, you have a question?
What kind of potential money are we looking at saving?
Well, $1,000 per employee and that is eligible.
What employees you count, full-time or part-time or?
The original discussion at the union meeting was focused on the full-time guys, but the application says anybody that even worked part-time that we can, I mean, if we go back and confirm, say, I'll just throw out a name, Jeremy Jones, say he worked from the period of April 1st to June or whatever is on there, worked yay many hours is eligible. I don't think it would be right to exclude those people that are eligible simply because they're not full-time, which makes the bill even bigger. So.
What kind of strings are attached?
I did a little research on it, have the frequently asked questions. We would still be responsible for any payroll expenses that go with it, such as Medicare, Social Security taxes. It does not reimburse. I mean, I'm sure we'd have to pay workers' comp on it, wouldn't we, Steve?
Any ancillary?
So any there, that would still all fall on the township. So that's, whatever we pay them, it's probably going to be about 20% worth of expenses for the township. And it has to be done, the payroll would have to be done tomorrow.
In hopes that we're reimbursed the same amount that we move
Yeah.
forward.
Part-time.
We did actually move forward with the payroll reimbursement program, as
Yes.
was brought to this board, of which there's another round of that coming. We were awarded, I believe it was only roughly, correct me if I'm wrong, 30-40% of what our expenses were in terms of employee costs. I don't have
can't.
the figure. It was
It was a
well
little
below
less
50.
than, it was a little less than 50%.
Okay, yeah, so, and that was with
Well,
that.
no, I think you're right. It was closer to probably 35.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was 35-40% what we actually encapsulated with that, of which there's another round for June and July that are coming up. And that was, I will say to that, I haven't looked at this whole packet yet, but that was not a 15-minute process. That was, and this seems from what I've talked with Michelle, easier, respectively speaking, but they're in on an application period of July 7th through September 30th, and it is a first come, first serve.
Yes.
Yes, trustee.
So we got to spend money, save money that we don't know how much we're going to get.
That is correct. And the most.
But the other part is this could potentially be a bonus check to these firemen. Strictly that's what all would be.
Correct. They're not, yeah, I don't want to sound like I'm opposed to this, believe me, but they're not losing.
Yeah, this would be just a bonus.
This is a bonus for being on the front lines during the COVID pandemic.
Is there anything like that for the township employees?
No. No, the only thing that came close was the payroll reimbursement program of the CARES Act, of which we're already actively in. And that was encapsulated not only the fire department, but it also encapsulated the DPW, which are by executive order were defined as critical essential workers. But there are no other programs. Actually, the legislatures just expanded hazard pay to include educators this past week. Because I had to look into that since my wife is an educator. But yes, Laura.
I have a couple questions. So as of right now, when we talk full-time, how many people is that?
7.
So that's 6 full-timers plus yourself?
Yes.
Okay,
But we have an empty position right now.
Oh, you're correct. 6.
Okay.
6. Okay, how many part-timers?
That are eligible, I calculated approximately 10.
Okay. Times $1,000 a piece.
I heard that, cash.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. No, that's seriously.
Times
that's why
$1,000 a piece that we don't know for sure we would get reimbursed
There
for.
is no guarantee.
And we would still have the payroll tax
20% of that.
expense, 20% of that coming out of the township.
Murphy's Law dictates if we don't put in for it, they'll come out with another round and say, oh, you should have applied.
And-
It also says that if we do, no.
I would like to be more proactive on this because if we would have got our application in by August, we could have done it. And then retroactive and got the money from the state and then paid it out once we knew we were getting it. So,
Which is where I believed that that's the way this round was gonna work, that we could simply fill out the application, and you guys would be notified either, yeah, we're getting it, or no, we're not. But being aware now that there's gonna be an upfront cost to the township.
do we know there's going to be another round of this, Chief, or?
No, I don't, but I
Okay.
am watching it much more diligently now that it's out there, because they are talking about looping a lot of this CARES money, so.
I think it'd be a lot easier, obviously, to do 6 versus 16. That's my only thought, I guess, on it.
Well, I mean, one way, this board needs to make a decision one way or the other, because the reality of where we stand here on the 28th of September is that we would have to either make a decision to allow the clerk to be proactively and in an atypical scenario, releasing funds through payroll to meet the protocols of the finalization of this application.
That's part of the strings.
And then I know that pretty much everything that touches CARES Act is that all admin costs aren't really, with the exception of one program, all admin costs aren't associated for reimbursement. And the State and Federal Monies Act makes sure that we have to track all monies associated with federal funds for a minimum of 3 years. But some of these CARES Act monies have different protocols, 3 to 5 are what I've seen thus far.
This is also a taxable event to the employee, right?
So
I'm sure.
Yeah, oh yeah, it has to go through payroll, so they will be charged federal tax, state tax.
And so that,
Right,
so, problem I guess I'm having with this is that the application period started July 7th. And we're hearing about this now. And because it's a reimbursement, and because there's a cap countrywide of 100 million, it looks like, I just don't think that, I think the likelihood of us receiving any reimbursement is greatly diminished because of the timeline. I'm gonna make a motion to not move forward with this based upon the fact that it's just, it would be an expense to the township with the likelihood that reimbursement would be denied.
We have a motion on the table to not move forward with the CARES Act brought forward by the chief. Is there support?
I'll support that.
It's been supported by trustee Dunkel. Any further discussion?
I would just say that if they do come out with another round, get it to us right away, whoever, somebody's keeping an eye on it.
Yeah, because like I said, I mean, I looked at the big picture and I looked at payroll reimbursement, and we did move forward actually, and then Michelle helped, after days of me wallowing through, I was only able to meet that deadline because, 3 hours, 4 hours?
4 hours with three of us working on it.
Expenses for, 6 full-timers and then 4 DPW workers. So it's an arduous process, but we have a motion and support. Do we have any other discussion? Seeing none, well, since there's no expenditure, we can do a roll call, so
Okay.
nonetheless.
Trustee Lappin?
Yes.
Yeah.
Clerk Palovich, yes. Treasurer Ellery Summers?
Yes.
Trustee Kroll?
Yes.
Trustee Dunkel?
Yes.
Trustee Polly?
Yes.
Supervisor Skibby?
Yes. So if we do have another round, then let's just jump on it right off the
Let's get
gate.
it so we can apply for it and get reimbursed before we have to pay out the funds.
And again, as a chief officer, so I will tell you, it's a little bit embarrassing that I didn't know about this sooner, but as the union not brought it to my attention in the last, several weeks, I wouldn't even know, because it's not like I got a pay. So, any other questions for me?
No.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your
Thank
your
you.
time, Chief. Have a good evening. Be safe. Moving forward with the agenda is new item 3, MTA's, and that stands for Michigan Township Association, Off the Road Program. Trustee Polly brought this to my attention, and is also discussed by Mr. Reinhardt. The cost therein is, let's see here, your entire township team for $348.
I think that's a really good deal. I mean, there are certain sections I'm interested in, but I wouldn't spend 116 for just myself.
And I know that, especially this fiscal, we've cut back on pretty much almost every single training to make sure that we looked at the city, village, township revenue sharing dollars as effective and as proactive as the stances we took. I think that we could get a lot of bang for our buck at $348 because there won't be any other
There's no travel
expenses because this is all online. Of which, our new executive orders states that we should not be having any employees traveling to do in-person trainings. I would recommend and look for a motion to move forward with signing up the entire township at $348.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion on the table to move forward with applying our entire township for $348. Is there support? And it's support by Trustee Dunkel. Any further discussion? Yes, Trustee
I
Lappin.
wonder, because these are 2 different dates, but then I wonder if these are recorded in such a way that if I can't watch either one of them, or if I can't spend an entire day, can I get modules? That would be interesting to know, because I would imagine there's, other than the fact that there'd be probably some Q&A, or maybe it would just be recorded and it would have the Q&A built into it. It would be nice to know that this is something that we could refer back to over a period of time. That would be nice.
I think that's a very fair question to ask. And I mean, I think going through this application process, we could ask that question. I know with some of the other involvements I have pre-COVID for online trainings, they do, as an applicant going through that, give you a link to whether it was AWWA that I took,
Yeah.
some of those, they do give you that ability to go back and look at that whole module.
Can I make an addition or something to my motion?
If you would like to make a friendly amendment to your original motion,
And also that our incoming new trustee, Russ Reiner, be allowed to be put on this application also?
So we, as a supporter of the original motion, trustee Dunkel, are you friendly, are you amendable to the friendly change to the original motion, sir?
Yes.
We have a friendly amendment to the original motion and a friendly support. With that being said, is there any other discussion?
We could watch it here.
Yep,
And
we-
have more than one of us.
Yeah, well, as long as we're maintaining less than 20 post October 9th within the 2,000 square foot that we have, we could host it here.
I think it'd be good to have it here.
Mhm.
So that's an opportunity. And if you're still listening, Mr. Reinhardt, one of two dates. But let's roll call vote, please.
Clerk Palovich, yes. Treasurer Ellery Summers.
Yes.
Trustee Kroll,
Yes.
Trustee Dunkel.
Yes.
Trustee Polly.
Yes.
Trustee Lappin.
Yes.
Supervisor Skibby.
Yes. Motion passed. Moving forward to the audit report.
First of all, at the last meeting, I gave you guys all your hard copy of the audit. There was a correction on page 41. I think, Matt, I sent you it electronically. I do have the correction here if anybody wants it, but I did also send it to everybody electronically with the correct page 41 in it. So if you don't have it, let me know.
Trustee Foley.
I would also like to entertain the thought of bringing in our CPA to give us a rundown on that document and answer any questions that this board may
I
have
lost it.
at a future date, preferably probably on a Tuesday meeting when we seem to be a little bit less there. And I'm sure there could be some questions come up that he could answer for us, if anybody else is interested in hearing that.
I would be, I kind of thought it would be.
Okay, well, he suggested to save money that he made up this little sheet and I passed it out to everybody.
Bill us to go over what you did.
Probably.
Yeah, we get billed for everything.
Every minute.
He says there's not a lot of changes from last year. The big thing is we did remove one of the findings.
Would you actually just read it front, read the entire, or do you want me to? I will read it.
Can you? Because I will start to call.
Because this is, I mean, so the notes to the trustee board, general, the audit opinions have not changed per top of page 2 of the entire packet. Our opinion is only modified in the water and sewer funds for the lack of capital asset records in that fund. Recall, we are unable to get them from the predecessor auditor after numerous requests. Second bullet point for general. There continues to be progress in the financial reporting activities within the township. BS&A was a great investment and continues to be more fully utilized each year to assist the elected officials in financial reporting. The balance sheets overall, the statement of net position is very stable compared to the prior year. The individual fund balance net positions are as follows. We have a general fund net position of $892,351. Public safety fund net position of $636,498, and a water and sewer fund of $7,300,005. Statements of revenue, expenses, and changes in fund balance. General fund, a change of $15,080. Public safety, a change of $208,163. Water and sewer fund, $320,108. General and public safety fund notes. Revenues in the general fund and public safety fund are stable compared with last year. Expenses in public works increased $156,810, which was due to amounts paid to the road commission for the Burks Manor, Eldon, Pole, and Lakewood special assessment projects. The transfer from the general fund to the public safety fund was $347,918 compared to $447,973 as of last year. This significantly impacts the net income of those two funds. Water and sewer fund notes. Water and sewer charges for services as well as cost of sales is down primarily due to no longer billing for the provisional rates. Fees associated with the city litigation continue to impact the water and sewer fund. And non-cash depreciation expenses of $214,577 also reduced the fund's net position. Findings. Material audit adjustments. Again, this year we assisted management by proposing numerous adjusting entries. Management has those entries if the board wishes to review the adjustments. Capital assess records. Same as prior years. There are no underlying records of the capital assets in the water and sewer fund. We exhausted all efforts in prior years in attempting to obtain the detailed records. Financial statement preparation. Most local governments have their auditors prepare the financial statements. Segregation of duties. Virtually impossible to have a perfect segregation of duties within the internal control structure for smaller local units of government. Budgeting. The Michigan Department of Treasury requires us to report any budget violations. Amending the budget as close to the end of the fiscal year as possible would assist in removing this finding. Note, many local units of government run into this issue. Inventory in the water fund. There are no inventory records being maintained, although that has started to change with our new operators. Finding, removed the current year. The finding for the lack of administration and accounting procedures and policies has been removed. So we are down one in the past 4 years, and that's a big one. Final thoughts. The audit process continues to become more efficient. Management has been great to work with, and they certainly take the process seriously. Management has been very helpful in getting the records we need to perform our audit procedures. We appreciate their efforts and the opportunity to work with the township. Respectfully submitted, Jim Kranzlin, Australia Lamp and Kranzlin, PC.
Okay, so last year we had 3 findings removed. This year we've had another one.
Yes.
And with F&B, we'll be doing a water inventory.
So there will be yet one more finding that won't exist. And so every
We
year.
are whittling away at them.
That's awesome.
Okay, that's all you can ever hope. We've come a long way in nearly 4 years, and we have considerable way that we continue to improve internally and externally control measures. So.
And Jim has also said if any of the trustees have any questions, they are always available to answer any of them.
Well, this is very helpful.
I mean, it is a nice cliff notes, but if I think I would also say this before we receive and file this audit report. In independent communications with our auditing firm, if any of the trustees still feel that it is beneficial to us as a municipal board to have our CPA present directly to us, then we will do so. But I think first step is maybe having those independent communications. And if we still feel that we need to, I think that it's never a bad thing to have our auditors present to us as a board. So read the audit report. If we want to move forward with that, then I have no issues with paying a little bit of money to continue our transparency. At this point in time, I would entertain a motion to approve the audit report as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Dunkel, would you like to support? Yes. So we have a motion by Trustee Polly, support by Trustee Dunkel. Further discussion? Yes. I think annually we're getting better and better, and that's from my standpoint.
And it's going a lot more smoother every year.
Well, I'm sure with the BSNA, I believe it'll improve it, the efficiency even more. Great.
Yeah, the more historical data points that we have, it's been a pleasure. Having no more discussion, roll call, please.
Treasurer Ellery Summers.
Yes.
Trustee Kroll,
Yes.
Trustee Dunkel.
Yes.
Trustee Polly.
Yes.
Trustee Lappin.
Yes.
Clerk Palovich, yes. Supervisor Skibby.
Yes, okay, and I'll keep these next 2 business items quite concise and succinct. The next item is the replacement, and I have this on because it's over $500, which is per our last amendment to the policy and procedures, is the purchase of a bench of 6-foot black bench, which will have additional costs coming down the line, but the cost is $998.85. This is to start and continue the claim process with a traffic accident that demolished a bench and overhead light that we will be getting reimbursed, but we have to first have this expenditure to continue to improve what was already damaged. So I would entertain a motion to purchase this bench that will have 100% coverage.
The 6-foot one?
The 6 foot is what we have existing. So the good, the bad, and the ugly is, this is we have a motion on the phone. Do we have support? And then I'll continue, and support. So continuing discussion, this will get us to the bench. We then have to actually have it painted to the proper color. There will be a plethora of invoices that are going to continue in this matter, all of which are going to be presented in the claim that is existing. Yes, Michelle.
And we have submitted some of the invoices so far, and Laura did get a check today. So
Okay.
we are starting to get reimbursement on that claim.
That's the process.
Yep, so we're just following through. So there will be a continuation of these invoices. Yes, Laura.
When you say plethora, I mean, are we only buying a bench and painting it? And I mean,
No, there's going to be a light pole,
Cost to install.
cost to install, cost to paint the bench, cost to set the bench, cost to redo the concrete work that was
That's what I
ripped out
wondered.
of.
Yeah.
So yes, there
So we need to look
are
at that too.
many
Okay,
foreseeable
Okay.
costs that are coming across.
But they're all
this.
we will be reimbursed.
Every cost that is associated with
Okay.
this traffic incident will
Okay.
be sent immediately through the proper channels. Seeing no, any other conversation or discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Trustee Kroll,
Yes.
Trustee Dunkel,
Yes.
Trustee Polly,
Yes.
Trustee Lappin,
Yes.
Clerk Palovich, yes. Treasurer Ellery Summers.
yes.
Supervisor Skibby.
Yes. Moving on to the last item of new business is accepting the resignation. Michelle, do you want me to take it or do you got?
I can take it. We received the resignation today from Dana as deputy clerk and administrative assistant. So it'll be effective October 9th, I think it was.
Correct.
So I'd like to make a motion that we accept the resignation of the deputy clerk administrative assistant in the clerk's office effective October 9th.
Well, we have a motion, but would you like to make a friendly? Do we have to make it effective today or?
We are still paying her through that day. She's just not going to be working here.
Okay. So,
Her last day, official day will be on the paper as of
okay,
that
on
day.
paper,
Yeah.
copy that. So we have a motion on the table. Is there, we have support, trustee Lappin. Any further discussion?
When will we start the process to, can we begin the process to replace her immediately?
I'm going to get through this election first, Steve.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what I'm asking. Is that putting an awful lot of heat on you?
It is putting a lot on me, but I have, Kelly is going to help me out a lot. Jen's been helping me out. Laura says that Rhonda can help when she comes back from vacation.
But as long as we've got
And
things covered,
if
I'm
things
okay.
get bad and we need extra help just doing folding and stuff, we can call like Star Staffing and get some temporary help in for those type of things.
All right, so then, and then otherwise we can put something on an MTA or we can put something on our Facebook page or wherever.
Website, we don't have Facebook.
Whatever social media we have, okay.
Okay, so we have a motion and support. All those in favor, well, actually, roll call.
Trustee Dunkel,
Yes.
Trustee Polly,
Yes.
Trustee Lappin,
Yes.
Clerk Palovich, yes. Treasurer Ellery Summers.
Yes.
Trustee Kroll,
Yes.
Supervisor Skibby.
Yes. This is the second opportunity for public comment. If you have any public comments, please speak up by telephone. I still see Bruce by web and Mr. Reinhardt. Do either of you on video have public comment?
Yeah, if I may, I'm Russ Reinert. I didn't give you my address before. It's 315 Par Drive. But I don't even know if I gave you my name, actually. But anyway, thank you for including me in your training. And in reading through that, Steve, I had, as I also cannot attend a full day on either of those 2 days, but I can attend an afternoon session in the first day, and probably the morning session in the second day. And they say that right on there that you could mix and match. But I don't know that it says on there that you can own the video and use it anytime you want. My experience with these kinds of things are probably not. But thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for your comment, Mr. Reinhardt. Is there anybody else on video or telephone with comment? I'm making sure that we're...
If I may?
Yes, you may, sir.
Thank you. Just an inquiry as to if I could obtain a copy of that auditor's report, if you could email that to me.
It is public information, and we can get that to you probably tomorrow, sir.
That's fine. Appreciate that. And just the last name of, was that Dana, D-A-N-A?
Yes, Malcolmson.
That's what I thought. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
And have a good evening.
You as well.
Mr. Supervisor, if I could make one other comment, please.
Addressing Mr. Reinhardt of 315 Par Drive. By all means, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I just wanted to tell Michelle that those AEDs are a good thing to have around, and you can use it without the training. It talks you right through it, and if you do it wrong, it'll tell you that as well. So, but
I can just see me making a situation worse.
training helps, but not that much. It'll talk you right through it. You can't. It's kind of dummy proof almost.
Okay. I'm just looking to see if anybody is by telephone. Is there anybody by telephone that has any comment? I'm going to just make one quick. Okay, I am seeing nobody. This is opportunity for further discussion amongst the board. Is there further? Yes, Trustee Poley.
Yes, I listened to a virtual put on by our attorneys at the Lansing Economic Club. It's about changing landscape of local government. The panelists were the Deputy Director of the Michigan Municipal League, the Michigan Association of Counties, and our Michigan Township Association, and a doctor from Associate Professor, Director, Center for Local Government Finance and Policy at Michigan State University. And basically, the couple of things that I got out of that is all these leaders of these organizations are concerned of what we will be getting down the road, not necessarily today, but because of what's happened with COVID and what potential could happen to property values, there could be a decrease in our income as we go down the road. We need to keep that in play. We need to be more friendly with our competitive cities, townships, governments, and work together. And federal assistance that we're getting is only a Band-Aid, and they stressed that and stressed it, that we need to work ourselves together with our communities. And I thought it was a good hour presentation. They answered some questions and whatever, but we just need to think about today is okay, or we're getting by okay, but we got to look at down the road, not necessarily tomorrow, but the tomorrow's down the road. That's all I have.
Thank you very much for your, I appreciate that, Trustee Poley. Yes, Trustee
The
Lappin.
other day, I took a little ride, and I went down Partridge Point Road, and I decided to take a little turn on Partridge Point Park. And good thing I had my Yukon, because that road was rough.
That is MDNR property.
Is that right?
That is correct. They've been asking us if we would like to inherit that for the past 2.5 years. but that is
The
empty
little
in our,
park area at the end is nice.
it's very nice.
But
Once
that-
you get-
That block and a half or quarter mile or whatever it is to get down there, geez, I thought I was gonna rattle my
Yeah.
teeth out.
What is that? Is it part of
Yeah,
Park
because I
Point?
couldn't- I
It's
couldn't
Frog
die
Road.
without possibly hitting a tree.
Well, you're not supposed to go under at 80 miles an hour, you know.
Yes.
You know, 80 miles an hour would have been a lot smoother.
No, that
Yes, he
is,
sits next to the deputy.
that is state-owned property.
Oh, I didn't realize, I thought that was, because there was a township logo.
It is not a township logo, that is, and that, of which we utilize is the CVB logo,
Oh,
of which we have a linear approach amongst the city, us as a secondary municipality, and also the South Bay Group
And the
utilizes.
county
Yeah.
does too.
And the county- did the county-
Rattling around.
Did the county start using
I
it as well?
believe so,
I thought the county used it.
So it's
Right.
because Alpena is Alpena.
right.
All right, then I guess as.
But nope, to answer your question, if you would like the telephone number to call, if there's no other discussion, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion by trustee Lappin. Would you like to support trustee Polly?
Yes.
We have a motion and support to adjourn. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose the same. Meeting adjourned at 7:16 PM. Thank you very much, Mr. Reinhardt. I appreciate your
Have a good
attendance.
evening.
Take care, Russ.
Bye.
Thank you. See y'all later.